We're streaming. So we got a different setup right now. I'm not recording yet, but I'm using the Facebook Live to do behind the scenes. That's not the real feed. The YouTube feed is still going to YouTube. So if you're looking at me on the Facebook stream, you will not see the videos. You will not hear the videos. You have to be on the YouTube stream to see that. So let's get started, y'all.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Dropping the mask we wear day to day, building real trust in a brand new way. For a deeper connection, let's explore on transparent conversations.
Stop doing that.
Transparent conversations, where every word can open doors. Transparent conversations.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, we can talk about it. Hey, welcome back once again to Transparent Conversations, Elevated Exchanges. I am your host, Calvin, or CPJR. Also, CPJR 300, if you feel me. Welcome back once again to the recording of the Transparent Conversations, Elevated Exchanges podcast, housed on YouTube under Transparent Conversations, also under Substack, Transparent Conversations. This is a space where right now we're talking about progressives or busts, meaning that this next election is very important. And I think I figured out that if we don't start electing progressive candidates on the Democratic side, or even on the Republican side, as long as they be Democrat, because Thomas Massey has been really showing something different this time. I actually thought he was a AIPAC Republican. He's taking no money from AIPAC, and he's proven it now, and you'll see a video on that later. So right now, this whole conversation is going to be mainly about the midterms and the fact that I live in Maryland. And right now in Maryland is the midterms. We've already started. We have early voting happening right now from June 11th to June 18th. And then June 23rd is the actual midterm. So if you're in Maryland, hopefully you've been checking your registration. You are registered. You know where to go on election day on the 23rd. You've checked to make sure to see if you're getting a mail-in ballot. If you've gotten that, you could drop it off at a drop-off point, or you can mail it in. Do that as soon as possible. Then track your ballot, okay? All these are very important because as we see in California, they're already accusing California of cheating with no evidence, of course. So it doesn't really matter how much, we follow the rules, do everything as we're supposed to do. We're still, if they lose the election, they're going to accuse the Democrats of cheating. So just get ready for that. But still, make sure that you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed, because it's going to be very important. I don't think For myself, I think that this election is like existential. Like if we don't get this right, we could become a subsidiary of Israel, or we could be part of the Israel empire, because things, like I said, all these things that are happening now seem to be kind of connected, and they all seem to be coming to a head because we elected a billionaire to the office of the highest land, and it wasn't even a good billionaire. It was the worst one that probably wasn't a billionaire until now. Now he officially is a billionaire because he's grifting like there's nothing that he can't steal. Like I said, most of the past presidents and people who have opinions about these things said he's the most corrupt president ever. So we need to talk about I want to talk about the upcoming elections and what we should be looking up for. I'm not a Democrat, so I can't vote in the Maryland midterms, but I am a progressive independent in a blue state. Now, for Maryland, pretty much whoever wins these upcoming midterms will be the incumbent. We'll get the seat because we have Republicans here, but they're in the majority. This is a majority. I don't know if it's a majority black state or not. I know PG is a majority black county, but I'm not sure. But it is a majority Democratic county. It's a very, very blue. So normally if the Democrat wins the primary, that's going to be the incumbent. Now, with that, we have like two very important elections to think about and to act upon. Remember I said all this is related, right? From what's happening with the billionaires, what's happening with this IPO. Like I really want to do this recording after the SpaceX IPO because our system is cooked. There's no one that recommended buying that stock, right? Based on the S1, the filing for the IPO, there was nobody recommending it. All the numbers were upside down. The PE ratio was off. There's no real money that he could get. Like I've heard that the only way he really can make the amount of money to match the market cap will be to get every last government contract from now to the end of time. Meaning that there's not enough money in launching rockets to make $1 trillion. There's not enough money in Starlink to make $1 trillion. And we already know what's the other one? AI is a bubble, right? AI has they're people. The thing about AI, right, is they sold AI as if it was the answer to everything, when actually not having a business plan for AI. Like what was going to be the actual killer app, or what was going to be the pudding, the cream, the thing that was going to really change or allow machines to take over the jobs of people. It's already showing it's going to be very expensive. They never talk about the data center side, where communities are coming against their elected officials, because elected officials, and I'll show that in videos too, they'll show how elected officials have decided that they can do what they want to do, and they can do what they want to do and just make the deals when people didn't know. Like you're waking up. People are waking up in the morning, one morning, and hearing blasting in the next farm or the field over there. That field that far has been empty forever. All of a sudden now they're tractors, bulldozers, knocking down trees and everything else. So we're going to focus on the election. I have a lot of information I want to share with that, and then we'll go into our regular, things about racism in the country, things about ICE, AIPAC, of course, in Israel. The war, I don't really talk about the war. And there's a reason why I don't talk about it, because based on what we've been told, I don't think any of us have a correct understanding of what the Middle East has been about and why it's always been that way. Like, we're getting more and more information as to the relationship with Israel, our relationship with other countries in the Gulf, and why it has never been a peaceful place. But if we really study it, do we really know anything about the Middle East before the hostage crisis? Now, I know that people that do, but I don't. Right? Like, I've been relying on narratives that were given to me that are turning out to be false, meaning that for some reason, Arabs and Israelis just fight, right? They're just not peaceful. Like, the whole region is just not peaceful, and it's full of militant Muslims, and we have to do everything we can to maintain the region so we can get the oil. That's the narrative. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for no reason that we really know of, Israel is constantly under attack from Arab nations, and Iran, they just want to blow up everything. Like, don't give them a nuclear weapon, because if they get a nuclear weapon, they're just going to blow up Israel and then attack us. They're going to attack everybody with a nuclear weapon. But nobody has fired a nuclear weapon at anyone. The only country that's fired a nuclear weapon at anyone in anger has been the United States. North Korea has nuclear weapons, right? They are very, very xenophobic and hostile and everything like that. But one thing they've never done is shot a nuclear weapon at another country. So the narrative that if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, they're just going to blow up Iran is false. It's false, because they haven't done it yet. I'm sure if that was their goal, they could have accomplished it. From what I'm seeing right now, they are very accomplished. They have seem like a very, very high educated population, and developing a nuclear weapon could have been accomplished. A dirty one. If that's all they want to do, that could have been done. Now, what does that do for their people? And I know that a lot of people say that, Iran is a militant and all this kind of stuff, and the government is very repressive. Of course it is, right? Because they have to have. Of course it is. I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna go in too much into it. I don't believe in repressive governments. I don't like. But Iran was an oppressive government prior to the Shah and the hostage crisis. And then it was just replaced with another repressive government. Now, before that, Iran was also a very cosmopolitan government, and it was cosmopolitan government, and it was what I want to say, like modern before the Shah, but the Shah was also repressive. So I think I messed up. Yeah. Oh, the light is blue today. It's gonna be blue for a while. I'm not doing any more green lights. So if you know, you know. So what I'm saying is, we don't really know how these governments, including Cuba, would actually evolve if we took the sanctions off of them, right? The only reason we don't take the sanctions off of them because they won't promise they won't attack Israel, but Israel won't promise they won't attack Gazans. The main issue with Israel in the Middle East is the fact that they are practice doing a genocide against the Palestinians, and they seem to also want to do a genocide against the Lebanese and Lebanon. They want the land, right? They give you this false narrative of it's been promised to them in the Bible, but I always say it's not admissible in court. You weren't there. You're European Jews. You were placed down there because of the Holocaust, and now everybody, you played a guilt trip on these other countries, meaning that we just want to feel safe. So we got to kill all these people over here so we can feel safe. They don't like us down here, so we need to kill them. And that's pretty much what they say. There's no other like discussion on living peacefully with anyone in the Middle East. It's we need to kill them. That's the plan for the Middle East. There's no other plan. So, and it's always been that way. And for some reason, our media, our educational system just ignore that. No, there's no problem with Zionism. So before I get too far into this, I record this show on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, between 8 and 9. It looks like I'm hanging out towards 9. I missed the recording last week. No, I didn't miss the recording. I was a day late on the recording from Wednesday. I did it Thursday morning because the light was green. There's no more light being green right now. We're going to cut that out. There was a specific reason that I did green light, blue light, but that's not working out the way I wanted to, so we're just going to stay blue for a while. But I will always keep the title Elevated Exchanges because we will get there. There's a reason for that. So anyway, so if you here for the first time, welcome. If you returning back, welcome back. Thank you. If you have a moment, please take a moment. If you have a moment, please like, share, and subscribe to the feed so that you know when I'm on. And then you'll also be able to help me grow this channel and to grow this community. I really appreciate you. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So right now, before we get started, I'm going to go into talking about the elections. But I have on my screen votelog.org and over here, check AIPAC.org. If you care about how your candidates voted in regards to Israel, or is your candidate taking money from AIPAC or Israel lobbies or being supported by them, then you want to use Track AIPAC to just verify if it's important to you. To me, it's important. Just based on what we're learning now, to me, it's very important that I know if my representatives represent me or they represent another country, right? We're to the point now where they are just writing stuff into our legislation, stating that they would love to have their military attached at the hip to our military for no reason. For no reason. Israel has never been our ally. And now the Liberty, we're going to talk about that too. The ship they blew up. All this stuff is out here and it's very controversial, but no one talks about it. No one ever wants to talk about it. It's always in hushed tones. And it seems that there's been a lot of mischievous information or things that have gone on with Israel that we've never ever addressed, either publicly, politically, legally, nothing. And there's a reason why. Excuse me, coffee. There's a reason why. It's good coffee too. It's a reason why that it hasn't been addressed, because Zionism, right? It's the same thing. The same thing. Our country is pretty much running parallel to Israel, their development, and I guess they feel they should have the same. They should be able to do the same thing that the United States did to the Native Americans, right? Just take them, put them on a reservation, and let them stay there. I think that's what's going on. And it's not right. It's not right. So anyway, back to our elections. So I've already talked. I'm going to specifically talk about the 4th congressional district in Maryland, which is my congressional district. There is a race between. I'm just put this up. There's a race between Glenn Ivey on this list. From Track AIPAC, Glenn Ivey has taken $7 million, or $7 million was pumped into his race to get him elected, to get him to beat Donna Edwards. So now he's up for election again. He's up against a candidate, and this is a very interesting picture. We're going to talk about him. He's up against a candidate who's taking no money from AIPAC. She's strictly grassroots. So there's a problem, right? Like, I vowed not to vote for another AIPAC candidate, and unfortunately, that's gonna be hard. I don't see a way. I don't see a way for the Democrats to win if we exclude every candidate that's taking money from AIPAC. I think what we need to do, and this is what, including myself, we need to actually ask them what is going on. Like, people that have taken $7,900,000, $100,000, I think that's out the door. Like, you can't mess with them. Angela also broke $230,000. They got to do, and Rankin, that's like crazy. Jamie Raskin, $169,000. Now, we don't know where the money came from. So you can check votelog.org to see if they've been voting pro-Israel also. Like I'm saying, we don't know where the money came from, right? We don't know if they receive actual donations from AIPAC, from other pro-Israel lobbies, or if the PAC, or if AIPAC or pro-Israel lobbies created a PAC in that state for that election to run ads against a candidate who they thought was hostile towards Israel. Now, the problem with all of that is, do they care about anything else but than Israel? Like, if the candidate doesn't do anything else, like, I haven't heard anything from Glenn Ivey. I just received an email from, I think, his office stating that they're having some kind of conference with the church about the Thomas Amendment. So, and I think that amendment was about how churches are taxed in their giving. So that's important to him. I don't know why that's important to him right now, but that's important to him, and that's what he's doing, right? Handling money in the church when we're facing people losing their health care, people losing their food, veterans losing their health care, receiving less benefits, and just a whole host of crimes being done on a regular basis. But his most important thing is to meet at churches, talk about the Thomas Act. So anyway, so that's my thing. Like, what's the Bible? You judge them by their fruit, right? You judge them by their fruit, and that is not a good fruit tree. I don't see any fruit on that tree. So that. You're gonna have to really talk to him. I wish, like, okay, for me in this election, he's running against Jakia Johnson, right? So for me, if Jakia Johnson doesn't win the primary, I'm not voting for Glenn Ivey because he'll win. I'm not gonna vote for him. I don't have to because he'll win. And now I understand Maryland just a little bit more. I honestly just a little bit more because you've been told, and there's actually another AIPAC Democrat, Steny Hoyer, 5th. He's in the 5th district. He's not my elected official. I think we get 2. I'm not sure how that works, but I always vote for Chris Van Hollen. Stephen Hoyer has been in office for a long time too. He's not running. So there's a few candidates running for the office, but there's one candidate who seems to be heavily backed. His name is Boafo, and he's AIPAC backed, crypto backed, AI backed, Oracle backed. Like if he gets in office for Senate, then he'll be voting bipartisan with the Republicans, and he will not be supporting he'll be not supporting any bans or what's those things called? What do you hold something? They will not be stopping any moratorium. There'll be no moratoriums on data centers. They will be built. That's the other side of AI. I've been talking about it, but they still decided that XAI, which is SpaceX, is worth $1 trillion. It ain't made no money. It ain't even being used right now. Grok is dead. I don't understand. The whole thing is rigged. It's a rigged system because that shouldn't have happened. So anyway, we're gonna talk about AIPAC corporate Democrats first, right? So the big race for me this week, and he won, was Graham Platner, right? Now, the New York did a hit piece on him, and it was interesting. But it was like, now it's coming out who backed that story, and that'll come out. But this next video is going to talk about the problem with having the Democrats not one big party. Right? There's corporate Democrats, and then there's progressive Democrats, right? The corporate Democrats are the ones who are perfectly fine with the situation as it is now, and they still will vote bipartisan when they can get away with it, like the Pfizer reauthorization, when they still can get away with it. So those are the corporate Democrats. The corporate Democrats are the ones who, they're for gay marriage. They're for abortion, all that. But then when it comes to money, they're not going to vote. If they could get away with not voting for things that are going to hurt billionaires or Israel, AIPAC members, they'll still do that because that's where their backing comes from, right? They're not really progressive. They're not really leftist. They don't really believe that we all should be on the same level because they come against candidates all the time. Graham Platner, they did not want him to win. Now, the thing about what they've been saying about Graham Platner is that he's not a perfect candidate. He's not. He's I guess, an oyster farmer. And in the military, he suffered some PTSD. He had a drinking problem. He had some issues with the tattoo means nothing to me because they say like the way they described tattoo, that was a Nazi tattoo, but now he got the tattoo while he was in the military in Croatia, and he did not know it was a Nazi tattoo. I believe that. He hasn't said anything. There's been no other incidents of racism that have come his way that I know of. Right Now, the New York piece, I did read it, and I was looking for the smoking gun. Like, what's making him worse than any other dumb dude out here doing dumb stuff with the alcohol problem, right? There was no crime, and then one of the women were set. So I'm gonna play this first video just to show that even the Democrats are against Democrats most of the time when they don't behave a certain way. And this happened with Bernie when he won the he won the primary, but he didn't win the primary at the same time.
Here is a clip where Biden's former press office chief of staff is carrying on this tradition, I guess. This is a last gasp in trying to derail progressives from running in these general elections.
Lost the plot on authenticity. I think Graham Platner is cosplaying working class. He wears it like a Halloween costume, and that has been placed on him by the same people who have run a lot of progressive candidates across the nation. In this pursuit of getting to know the everyman, we keep picking these people who I think show the worst parts of society. If I am to believe that Graham Platner can relate to everyday Americans, and that means I am to believe that everyday Americans are okay with Nazi tattoos because they get them accidentally when they're drunk, or because they served in the military, they have very regressive views on race and on gender. I just cannot accept the fact that to gain the working class, we have to dress up people who show the lowest of our values.
You're projecting. I mean, honestly, there's nothing about his platform there, and that's why he's resonating, not because he wears a flannel shirt. I mean, this is how she thinks about voters.
Look what she said.
His platform.
Hold on. She said there's nothing about his platform. That woman who attacked Graham Platner on CNN or whatever one of dumb shows, she was a black young lady, for those who can't see the video. She was African-American. She's a young lady, very well together, very articulate. And she's also in the political game. She's also a Democrat, works for Democrats. Now, proceed.
He doesn't take AIPAC money. The fact that he's running on Medicare for all, the fact that he wants to tax billionaires. That's what's operational here, not the cut of his jib and the way his voice sounds. It helps, but it's such a cynical way to view voters, and it should not shock you that she's a Democratic consultant. I was looking this up before the show. She has her own consulting firm, and it's called Podium Strategies, and she is on air, and this should be a disclosure. If you're a Democratic consultant and you're talking about a campaign like Platner or Abdul al-Sayed's, it should be said that your whole your pocketbook is under threat with campaigns like this. The success of campaigns that are reliant on canvassing and door knocking and in-person voter outreach is a direct threat to her pocketbook.
So what she was basically saying there is basically this person is someone who supports candidates that handle PAC money, right? They're not gonna be out here asking voters, because the attack that she put on Graham Platner, she wasn't anything about policies, right? It was he's a phony working man, and he's flawed, and he shouldn't be representing Democrats. It's a shame that we would elect someone like that. But nothing about his actual policies. The fact that nothing about he's not taking a penny from AIPAC, because they all do. Not all of them do. I played the video last week. It's the more Republicans do than Democrats, but there's a problem in the Democratic Party also. But then there's a problem. They did the same thing to Madami, Zoran Madami, and they still are, to the point where the people of New York, the people that live in New York City that voted him into office left him. But then the people that don't are established Democrats and Israel Lobby, AIPAC, those people. But they don't mad at him because of his policies. Well, maybe some of the landlords are, because they got to pay and can't just keep people living in squalor. But they are mad about the policies. Well, the ones about taxing the rich, they are mad about those. But they don't talk about that. They talk about the fact that he's a Muslim. When they were looking for a candidate to run against Mandami, the best they come up was Cuomo. And that's a shame. Now, he's a AIPAC corporate Democrat, period. I mean, so that's the problem we have right now, right? That's why I'm saying that to me, there's an AIPAC party, Democrat party, Republican party, and we're having a hard time telling who's actually in the Democrat party because they've been hiding for so long. And then we have to find out who's real and who's not. So here's another, this next video is going to be about the election in Maryland. I'm sorry, I'm in Maryland, so I got to play videos about Maryland because it's important that we get this Steny Hoyer race correctly. It's for Senate. And the candidate that's like getting all the money is a corporate AIPAC Democrat.
Welcome to another vent session. Apparently, these super PACs cannot stop spending money. They have a lot of money. They should be donating to something else. But here we have UDP, aka AIPAC, who is spending another $1.2 something million to put on ads because, you know, we need more ads. We need more ads telling us that Adrian Boafo was endorsed by Angela, Steny, and Wes. I don't care. I don't think people in this district, we want to know who's going to fight for us in freaking Washington. We want to know who is going to tackle the affordability crisis. The sad part is I think this is harming him more than it is helping him because they will not stop. And people are getting annoyed. I know I'm annoyed. Yesterday, I posted about the crypto pack on Threads and the fact that they are spending $59,000 on mailers because you know what? My mailbox needs more mail, apparently. I am tired of getting flyers and mailers and letters from all these candidates. I'm not even gonna lie. Y'all are making me sick. But here we have the crypto people that spent $3.3 million so far, and they probably will spend more next week. Maybe even tomorrow, who knows? So we're talking all in all, we're talking about over $6 million that has been spent on a singular race for one candidate. I get that they're mad because they feel like they probably need to counter the attack ads that Quincy has put on against Adrian. This is one of the mailers I received yesterday. I mean, the fact that they used this picture. The crazy thing is that if I felt like Adrian was winning, I would say so. But with all these ads, I still don't feel it. I don't feel it at all. I cannot wait until June 23rd. I am beyond livid at this race. Anyways, I'm voting for Harry Dunn because I'm tired of this bullshit.
I support Harry Dunn too. But I can't, I'm not in that district, so Van Hall is mine. So yeah, it's gonna be up to you guys to make sure you're knowledgeable. I'm gonna pronounce that name over and over again. Boafo. Yeah, Adrian Boafo. Boafa. That is the corporate Democrat, and that is the one that you should be wary of if you want to have real representation in Washington, D.C. And this is, like I said, one of the most existential, important races of your life. And we have like one more time to get it right. Here's one more video from Maryland, progressive Maryland, talking about the same issue of this PAC money and who is getting the money. That's gonna be the most important thing that we have to make sure of going forward. We have to make sure that we know where the money's coming from, because as these PACs, they'll have a name like Democracy Watch or Democracy Guard, and that'll be AIPAC putting money against the other candidate. They don't care about what the candidates stand for in this state, like what the candidate wants to do in this state. They could care less. Only thing they care about is how you're going to vote when it comes to weapons and money and military integration as it pertains to Israel. That's it. That's their number one priority. All right, so I'm going to play this progressive Maryland.
In Maryland, in these deep blue districts like the 5th, let's also be clear, the primary is the election. And I've not run the numbers myself, but I'm pretty convinced if you actually did an analysis of this money in Maryland politics, you're going to see it's mostly in the primaries. Because that's where they weigh in, because people know that whoever wins the primary in the 5th district, the Democratic Party is going to become the congressman. We knew some money would come in here to this race, but $5 million. And where did that $5 million come from? It came from 3 directions.
$5 million.
It came from crypto, via a large super PAC called Protect Progress. It focuses particularly on Democratic candidates who will give a favorable light touch to regulations of digital assets. And is heavily backed by tech and crypto executives from firms like Andreessen Horowitz, Ripple Labs, and Coinbase. So that's the crypto money that's come in, 3.2 million. Then there's the 1.3 million from AIPAC related organizations. Because let's be clear, these people don't put their own names on things. They have to use these coded SuperPACs. From United Democracy Project, which is an AIPAC-affiliated super PAC that focuses particularly on Democratic primaries, heavily backing moderate or pro-Israel candidates against progressives and critics of the Israeli government. But there's a third direction this money came from, and let's not forget about that, and that is the Democratic establishment. The first 0.5 million that was spent on ads and mailers came from Hoyer's own AmeriPAC, which, if you look at its recipients, funds middle of the road at best, corporately friendly Democrats around the country.
Okay, I think I've done all I can do for Maryland and the Democrats. So really, for me, like this primary on the 23rd with the Democrats in Maryland, it's going to be the bellwether for me. Like, it's going to really show me exactly, because I recognize patterns, exactly what's going to happen in the midterms, right? Meaning that if AIPAC is going to retain their grasp on the elections, because it's pretty well known now all throughout Maryland, any type of post on social media, that Glenn Ivey is an AIPAC candidate, right? That this other guy running for Steny Hoyer's seat, the Democrat, the one that's well funded, is an AIPAC Democrat, right? We all know that. It's been discussed. I play videos from other people showing that they know. So when it comes after the 23rd, if those two races, Glenn Ivey wins again, because that's basically it, because there's no Republican challenger that's going to win. Not in this district. Not here. You got to be black Democrat to win here. So if we remain with Glenn Ivey, then I know that this county is just lost. And the whole race is going to be lost. It's just going to be lost because nobody's listening. And I pretty much know no one's listening, because when I ask people the questions that I talk about on this recording each 3 times a week, they still don't know. So good luck. Good luck to us all. So we're going to go on from there. And we're going to talk about I forget now. Okay. We're going to talk about progressive candidates. I like to show the ideal candidate for me. Like, when I see a candidate on Capitol Hill defending our rights and talking about what's happening with ICE, Israel, the war, the president stealing everything, the cabinet, this immoral, incompetent cabinet, that's what I like to see. And I am going to bring light to the type of Democrat, progressive Democrats that I like. And this first one is Ayanna Pressley. She's not an AIPAC then. I don't think she's up for re-election, but this is what you should be hearing from your candidates. Especially with everything that's coming up, even if we win this election, we still got 2 more years of fighting to get these people out. There must be prosecutions. People have to go to jail. People must be sued. Money has to be clawed back. And only the most progressive candidates are going to be up for the fight.
I don't have time for you to filibuster. Just answer the question. This should be an easy answer. Do you think children should endure vomiting after eating, drinking contaminated water, and waiting days for medical attention while they are detained at Dilley? Yes or no?
They're detained because their parents have...
I'll take that as a yes, that you're okay with that.
Their parents...
That you want to be complicit in the abuse,
facilities.
negligence, and trauma of our children. Moving on, dozens of families and children like Susej, a 9-year-old girl detained at Dilley, have reported the cruel and inhumane conditions of this facility. We have 9-year-olds having to advocate for themselves. She said she loved going to school, playing with her friends, until enduring the prison-like conditions of Dilley stole her sleep, stole her appetite, and stole her innocence. In that cage that they call a family residential center, she repeatedly woke up screaming from nightmares, begging to go home. She left Dilley changed forever, fearful, withdrawn, burdened with trauma that was never hers to carry. That is the human cost of Republicans' harmful policy choices. And if you're not working actively to close Dilley and address the systemic harm taking place in all these facilities, you are complicit in child abuse, period. And the evidence is clear. This administration is imprisoning thousands of children for weeks and months in unsafe conditions, denying them due process and inflicting lasting trauma. This is a blatant violation of basic human rights and our constitutional values.
So when you see Representative Ayanna Pressley, advocating for children in Dilley, right? Children that are locked up illegally and immorally, not getting food, screaming because they're in unsafe conditions, vomiting after they eat because of the maggots in the food, nothing to drink, and they're being traumatized. And then the first answer from the representative from the regime is, well, their parents came in. What are you talking about, bro? That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the most inhumane, corrupt, illegitimate, unfeeling, unsympathetic, unempathetic people in the world. These are the same people who probably were on the first boards of the Nazis. When they were setting up the camps and moving the people away, they didn't think it was about murder at first, but they were going along with it because it seemed like the right thing to do, right? You cannot justify locking up children and feeding them maggots and getting sick. They said I don't know if I played that last week. They gave someone with a septic, something ulcer in their stomach, they gave them Pepto-Bismol. They do not care about the people. And the reason I know they don't care about the people is they keep saying illegal, right? Most of the people in these detention centers are not in the country illegal. They're undocumented or they're documented. Going to court, getting caught up in the system, and then being moved from place to place to place to place. And then when you address the issue with these thugs that we call cabinet members or whatever they are, they give you something about with their parents. Or that doesn't mean you lock the kids up. They weren't locked up before. It didn't cost us billions of dollars until you started doing something. Now it's costing us billions of dollars, and then we're going to be facing lawsuits, as we should, because these people are getting sick. Okay. On to the next one. So this is going to be another one. And that's what you hear from progressive candidates on a regular basis. And they don't move. They don't change. They don't care. And that's what I mean. They talk about the reconciliation of MAGA. I can't be around somebody that don't care about children. Obviously, they don't care about children because they don't care about what happened to the Epstein kids. All those kids that are now adults, they don't care about that. So obviously, they're going to care about a kid that they call illegal. All right, we're going to hear Representative Jaya Paul, one of my favorites. Of course, now she's talking about the weapons being used in Israel illegally.
My amendment would prevent the sale, license, or transfer of white phosphorus munitions to Israel to end U.S. complicity in an especially horrific form of destruction. White phosphorus is an incredibly dangerous chemical when used on the battlefield. Once exposed to air, white phosphorus spontaneously ignites and sets fire wherever it lands that is incredibly difficult to put out. When it comes into contact with human skin, it causes severe burns that can penetrate down to the bone. And even if burned tissue is medically removed, wounds can reignite when bandages are removed and the phosphorus is re-exposed to oxygen. The chemical is often absorbed into the bloodstream, poisoning internal organs. A recent investigation by the New York Times found that white phosphorus has been used by Israel as recently as May 30th in several highly populated cities across Lebanon, including over a city of roughly 40,000 people. And instead of ground bursts, videos of these attacks show white phosphorus projectiles being detonated in the air, leading to indiscriminate harm on civilians and civilian infrastructure. Mind you, this is weeks into a so-called cessation of hostilities and just a day after Israeli and Lebanese military officials met at the Pentagon, where Israel committed that it had no hostile intent towards Lebanon. This is not a new occurrence. Israel's use of white phosphorus has been under scrutiny by the international community for decades. Backlash was so severe in 2013, the Israeli government stated that they would no longer use white phosphorus in populated areas except under extreme circumstances. But that backlash has subsided, and with the U.S. government continuing to send an unconditional flow of arms to Israel, it should be no surprise that the IDF feels emboldened to walk back on this commitment. The United States must make clear to the government of Israel that if they continue to conduct unilateral strikes that prevent us from securing a ceasefire, there will be consequences. Prohibiting the sale of white phosphorus is the first step in asserting our leverage and demonstrating that the United States truly has a commitment to ending this war. I urge my colleagues to vote yes, and I yield back.
So the United States of America is selling white phosphorus to Israel, and Israel is using white phosphorus against Israel and against Gaza, the Palestinians against the Lebanese. Now we've all seen pictures. If you care to, you have seen pictures of evidence of Israel using white phosphorus in Gaza and Lebanon. And they deny it, but the white smoke, you see it, and you know white phosphorus is like Geneva. Is it a Geneva? Is it against the Geneva? I know it burns. I've seen it in movies, right? You've seen it in movies, especially like when we were soldiers. The white phosphorus gets into your skin and it burns, and you can't get it out. It just burns. It doesn't need all it needs is oxygen to burn. So it just burns the skin. It's very painful, and the fact that they're using it is just like incredible. It's crazy to me. Now I think they use those in a bomb that they use because they want to burn away the bodies, and they want to burn away the blood. Like, I shouldn't know all this stuff, right? The only reason I know this stuff is because I pay attention. I'm looking into what's happening in Gaza and Lebanon, and that's happening today. They use a bomb to make sure that it incinerates all the bodies and the blood is gone, so I have to clean it up. Because it's an ethnic cleansing campaign. It's nothing else but it's a land grab. So they're using illegal weapons, and Representative Jayapal brought that up, read it into the record. Of course, Republicans don't care. Actually, I'm not going to say it's just Republicans. AIPAC Democrats don't care either, because they will give them more and more weapons as time goes on. I don't know. I just like hearing that, really. And I see it. But when you see it, you don't really think about the fact that nobody should be using phosphorus weapons anymore, right? Why is phosphorus? Because it burns. It can't be stopped. They say that weapon, even when they bandage people up, there's a danger of, because it all needs oxygen, that when you unwrap the bandages, that it can start burning again. That's a crazy weapon to use. And why would you need a weapon like that to use? Why? We could ask them, but they're not going to answer, because they don't answer. They won't tell us about the nuclear weapons. We're not going to get an answer. They just prefer to burn the people up, I guess. So we're going to move on. I got one more. Nope, I got two more, and then we'll be out of this. This is an interesting one. I'm usually at this time I start messing up, getting the wrong ones. I got it right here. All right, so this one's going to be about the it's going to be about this story. This is back to Graham Platner and the timing of the story. The story was done a while ago. It probably should never been released because it was a hit job, right? It wasn't, because I was listening for the it's New York Times again too. I was listening for the crime, like when was he arrested, or was the police called, or what really is going on? I never heard that. So it was a hit job, right? Because they don't want, because he won, he has the win behind him, and he's talking the right talk to win a grassroots campaign and then replace that seat. That seat probably shouldn't even be Republican. But, you know, Susan Collins been there a long time, and she has made a lot of money in that seat. So let's hear about how this story came to be and why it was published right before the primary.
So We pretty much know who was behind Graham Platner's October surprise in June to derail his Senate run in the New York Times piece that came out. We know that his ex-girlfriend he dated from the Heritage Foundation back in 2013 came out after the article was released and said, "How dare the New York Times? They sold me up the river. They lied to me. They said they had evidence from other women who alleged abuse. There was no other evidence. You made me look bad. I never intended to harm somebody who was suffering from PTSD at the time," and all this kind of stuff. And that the New York Times sat on the story for 2 months. So they very calculatingly released this just days before the election. So who was behind it? People are speculating it was Susan Collins, it was this, it was that. Well, one of the two journalists who wrote this piece, Katie Gluick, listen to this. She was a student at Northwestern University, and while there, she was the co-president of the chapter. Are you ready? The co-president of the chapter of Students for Israel. And AIPAC gave her chapter the Activist of the Year award. And let me tell you, this is what AIPAC and all the big moneyed interests do. They're so brilliant at how they release these hit pieces, because this is a gift that's going to keep on giving. As long as Graham Platner is in politics, this will forever be on top of every conversation over and above us getting health care, money out of politics, bombing other countries, you name it. Just today, there was another hit piece from a Democratic rag, an opinion piece saying the Democratic Party are hypocrites for hitching their wagon to Graham Platner when they claim to be about women. I mean, I'm telling you, it's just going to be that perpetual gift. Good job, AIPAC.
So as you see, that story was backed by AIPAC too. One of the writers were formerly of AIPAC, and they they decided to run that story, or get the New York Times, who had the story for 2 weeks. They decided to get AIPAC to run that story right then because they're worried about Graham Platner winning. And he hasn't taken a dollar from AIPAC, so it's another hit job. I keep saying that we have to get AIPAC out of our politics, out of our government. But how'd they get there, though? That's the thing about it. Like, nobody knew. That's what the media keeps talking about how things are bad now, but things have been bad for a while, because the fact that we're learning about all these things about AIPAC and Israel now, meaning that it happened then. It was happening all the time, but they never ever talked about it. So if you want to say that, if you want us to believe that things were so bad and out of control, or things are so bad out of control then or now because of Barry Weiss and the Ellisons and CBS and TikTok and CNN and 60 Minutes and all that, I don't remember ever seeing a controversial show on 60 Minutes about the truth about what's happening in the Middle East. I'm telling you, because I had to sit down just now this week and really think about my relationships with the Muslims who I've worked with and people from that area, Iraq, Pakistan, Palestine, India, all those people that I've met. And I'm like, where did the image come from of them being like terrorists and wanting to kill everybody? That image came from the media. It didn't come from the people that I met, because I never met a Muslim who was violent to me or anything else. They're a little bit arrogant, but they have right to be. We all are. I know I'm a little bit arrogant. So, but that was the narrative that we've gotten. I'm like, oh man, I gotta apologize, because I never really understood that. Even though the media is crying right now about Barry Weiss and the Ellisons, where have they been? They haven't been doing a good job. They've been bowing the knee to Israel and AIPAC for a long time. It's just now that we all know, how bad it is really, how bad it is now, it's been bad for a while, and they were on board with it. right? That's the narrative. When you think about all the movies and everything about how evil, and all they want to do is capture anybody and kill them. They just want to kill everybody. For what reason? Right? And then when you sit around thinking about the reason, say, oh, wait a minute. The hostage situation, that was the Shah. Where did Shah come from? Oh, the BP thing. When Iran decided they wanted their own money, right? They wanted their money for their oil. They didn't want to split. They didn't want 40%. It's their money. So yeah, I mean, think about, and you still hear like the Muslims, Sharia law, and the Muslims want to kill everybody. It's still there. It's still being talked about on social media as if Islam is evil, Christianity is good, and Judaism is just tolerated because they're the chosen people. So that's how it works in this country, and it's been like that for years. And the only reason we're hearing about it now is because of independent media. If I was still watching regular media, mainstream media, I'm sure I would have the same ideas. Like, everybody's keep picking on Israel, and they are just they're our number one. I've never believed that, though. I never believed they were our number one ally. All right, so we're going to switch up. Oh, one more from the progressives, the Democrat. This is a different one. This is Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey, I already apologized last time. I thought Thomas Massey he was a Republican. I didn't know that there were non-AIPAC Republicans. There actually are very few. Very, very few. Much less. It's like a handful of them. And Thomas Massey was one. So I'm not sure why he's a Republican. He's a Kentucky. He's from Kentucky. Okay, I got that part. But he seems to be really different, right? He seems to be like a progressive. But he's a Democrat. He's a Republican. I wouldn't vote for him. I might vote for him. Anyway, so this is Thomas Massey talking about AIPAC.
Today, I introduced a bill called the AIPAC Act. You'll see this come up. Nobody knows this. I'm debuting it on your show right now, which would make AIPAC subject to Foreign Agent Registrations Act. For some reason, they're immune right now. And I think not just the money that's spent in politics, but the lobbying that happens on Capitol Hill should be reported if it's a foreign country, whether it's Great Britain, Australia, Turkey, Qatar, or Israel. It needs to be reported.
And the amount of money that goes to these influencers, it's really interesting. You'll see them sort of all, publishing the same attacks online almost simultaneously, or they'll release videos. They're all on the same page, and it's like they're receiving talking points. They should have to disclose that they're receiving this money, right?
Right.
Yeah, when I do a commercial, and I've said this so many times, when I sleep, I think about it. I'm Thomas Massey, and I approve this message. I'm Thomas Massey, and I approve this message. That's either at the front or the end of every commercial I do. And when I send out a piece of mail, it says who did it, and, my campaign, Thomas Massey for Congress, approved by Thomas Massey for Congress, paid by. And we need that. I believe we should have that same sort of truth in advertising on social media. Because if it's a good idea in the other outlets, it would be a good idea on social media, particularly because so much of it is foreign money. I remember all of these complaints about election interference, fraudulent elections, and the Russians being involved, and who else being involved. But really, the elections are being influenced online.
So that was Thomas Massey, again, being different. He is sponsoring a bill. The AIPAC is not labeled a foreign agent, right? Because, I seen this controversy video one time. They was talking about, they were pointing out all the people that work in the White House, and a lot of them were Jewish. There's a lot of control over the government. And I don't particularly like saying that, because I don't think it's Judaism. That Judaism isn't the problem. The problem is Zionism. The fact that they are very racist and very xenophobic. when it comes to Israel. Now, this country, I don't have a problem with people. I don't have a problem with people being who they are. But I have a problem with people doing things they shouldn't be doing to other people. I don't like it, and I don't support it. When I see it's wrong, it's wrong. And the way they talk about Palestinians is wild. Jerry Seinfeld is a Zionist. I was going to play that video. I'm saying, nah, he's a Zionist, but he's an old rich white dude. As far as I know, he's going to support Israel because he don't really care. What does it make? That's what I'm saying. He's liberal. He's liberal. He's not progressive. He's not leftist. He's like, look, y'all can do what y'all want. He's libertarian. Do what y'all want. Don't mess with Israel. And don't mess with my money. That's what he is. That's what a lot of people in Hollywood are. I don't think he even really knows what's happening over there, to be honest with you, or cares, because he really don't have to. So Thomas Massey's interesting. They spent the most money they ever had to spend to get him out of his primary. He lost his primary because they spent a lot of money against him. So he knew it was coming, but he stayed steady. He could have reversed that, but he didn't. That's a progressive candidate. That's a Republican. I don't like Republicans. It's kind of weird. It's in a weird place for me. So we're going to move on from there. This next one, I'm going to show you a video. And I want you to, it's from Instagram. So follow this guy. Cause he's talking from the front lines. He's been going to the Delaney, detention center in New Jersey. The one that's notorious at this point. It's going to be like Auschwitz when it comes open. That's one thing that really, really worries me a lot. What we're going to hear about after these detention centers become open. We already hear about it now. And if I was a guard or worked in those companies, I would be scared as hell. Because I'm like, you see what's happening, but you're not saying anything. You're getting a paycheck, and a paycheck is important. It is important, but is it worth your soul? Is it worth your freedom? Is it worth your family's legacy? Your legacy, right? This is who you are. You're going to be on this side of history as the people who tortured, raped, starved, trafficked immigrants because it's illegal. You're detaining people illegally because the judges are ordering them being released. They aren't being released. So this next story is about how, speaking of being releasing immigrants, this next video is going to be about how they're being released and how they're being trafficked. And it's one of those things you have to just look at yourself as an American and say, is this who we are? What is an American now?
So, breaking fucking news, what you're about to see is a clip of a man who was just released from ICE detention here at Delaney Hall. He is from the Florida Keys, and his exact response was, I don't know why the fuck I'm here. So they took this man from the Florida Keys, brought him to Jersey to let him out, and now he has to figure out how the fuck he's gonna get home. Yeah, let's go.
So speaking in Spanish, he said he don't know why he's here.
Let's get you food, So that just shows you, and I hammer on this fact all the fucking time, that no matter how many times the Trump administration tries to tell you that they catch these detainees and send them back to their countries, you see more detainees leaving outside of Delaney Hall than you would probably really think to yourself. The government is lying. They're just catching these people, ship them all across the country, and say, hey, fuck it, figure it out. They just let this man go. It's 9:30. They let him out at like 9 o'clock p.m. And he's from the fucking Florida Keys. Make that make sense in your fucking brain.
You don't. So that's to show you, like I was saying, that they this whole thing was a money grab, right? As far as the billions, they just approved another $70 billion for ICE and DHS. So in my mind, the reason that they're doing all the moving people around is because they can, and because they need to spread the money around. Each person in a bed at night is a payment, right? They get paid per day per detainee. So if a certain detention center is a little low, we need to move some people over here. So they just move some people over there, and then they're just moving people around the country. And then this guy is from the Florida Keys, and they're gonna release him in New Jersey. with nothing. They don't care about how he's gonna get home. But the chances are him getting caught again, right? And that's more money. It's catch and release. It's catch and release. That's what they're doing. And it's just another thing. Like they're purposely doing cruel things to people in order to, I guess, try to get them to automatically deport themselves or just say, send me over. I mean, some of the stories that I'm hearing are horrific as far as what they're doing at the border with the torture thing. And I guess we'll get to that point. We'll start playing those once I can confirm what's happening at the border with these detainees. Then I'll start playing those because I don't want to spread misinformation. Like I was kind of concerned about 2 videos I played last week. The information was probably correct, but I think they were influenced and they probably were paid for those posts. So I don't want to be that person, but the shipping people around is noted. It's documented. People have died from being left out at night without a way home. Older man he died because he was lost. He didn't understand why he was just let go in the middle of something. He didn't speak English. He was in the country legally too, and he died. So follow him. He's actually very good on Instagram, but he's actually like on the front lines, and his reports are true. So if you want to keep up with what's happening at Delaney, because Delaney's a mess, and follow him, I recommend. So we're going to switch up with the detention center. There's only one video and pay from ICE because ICE is just happening and it's a lot. It's a lot for me. So if I look at these all day, right, it do affect me, right? I do sometimes get very depressed because it's like impossible to think about what's happening on a daily basis to the people in detention centers, to think about what's happening to people in Lebanon, Iranians who are getting bombed, our troops who are sitting out in the middle of the Gulf for nothing, in danger, our troops that are in bases in the middle, in the Gulf, being bombed because of the actions of this country. I don't blame Iran for nothing. For the actions of this country, being led by a madman who made a deal with a madman who's been trying to get this thing done for years, but he finally found the useful idiot that he needed. And that's and this is not going to end tomorrow, and there's no guarantee that's going to end after the midterms, or it's going to get better after the midterms. It may get worse if the Democrats can't get together. It may be worse because Democrats are fighting Democrats. The corporate Democrats are fighting the Democrats. They don't like Mandami. I can't think of one reason other than you just Islamophobic, or you just don't like Muslims, or you don't like people that's going to fight for the people. Why you don't like Mandami? That man has answered every question correctly that he's gotten so far. And people like him in New York, and that's a hard thing to do. But you will make enemies in New York, and he's definitely making those, especially Israel. So we're gonna switch gears. I have to go into Israel AIPAC, what's happening over there. Actually, what's happening over here. Let's do some history, because they talk about it now more than anything else. Thomas Massey brought it up. He wants to talk about and investigate what happened to Liberty a long time ago. The Liberty was a ship in the Gulf that Israel attacked, one of our ships, and it's all mysterious as to what happened.
USS Liberty Survivor says Israel didn't just attack us, but that LBJ gave the stand-down order and set them up to start a war with Egypt. Check it out.
We were set up, as you well know. LBJ sent us there alone. We asked for destroyer escorts, and we were denied it twice. And they wanted us to sink on behalf of Israel.
There's an image on the screen. 34 killed, 174 wounded.
But help didn't even come to us for 17 hours.
That must have been a lonely 17 hours.
Dark, but we knew planes were on their way to help us, and that was the last message that came to us. Help is on their way. And we sat 17 hours.
And they called back planes twice, right?
Yeah, up to America and the Saratoga.
So the man was saying that you probably didn't hear. They had some of it on the screen. The man was 174 killed, 34 wounded. They think LBJ set them up, and because they asked for a destroyer escort, which they denied, they were sent out there, and Israel started shooting at them because they thought the U.S. battleship was a Egyptian battleship, and they started firing at it. And this was 1967. I was born in '66. That's how far this stuff go back, right? And I didn't know about this. I think I heard about it in hushed tones, but I never really got the full story. But now I got the full story, and I'm like, that's crazy. Let's hear about some more.
American dollars are being
That's not it. Uh-oh, did I mess up? I think I did. I think I messed up. Yep, I did. I have a second video of that. I have to bring it back because I think I put the wrong video. I'm always going to mess up one time, it seems like. I'm going to mess up one time.
Israelis claimed they were being shelled by the sea. Well, that would have to be a warship, and the only warship out there was the USS Liberty. The truth of the matter is the explosions were captured ammunition that the Israelis were blowing up. Captured Egyptian ammunition, not shell fire from the sea. And excuse me, the El Qasir, the so-called warship they claim they mistook us for, World War I Egyptian horse carrier, which had not been to sea for 20 years, was waiting to be cut up for scrap.
So this is a gentleman, he was a sailor at the time on the ship, and we're hearing from the men. So I could feel his frustration, the gentleman before in the previous video, about how they've known this since 1967 when they were attacked. He was saying that the Israelis said they were an Egyptian warship, but the ship was an Egyptian World War I horse carrier. They couldn't detect that was a United States Navy, that was a supply ship or an oiler, but it doesn't look like a horse ship. I don't know what a horse ship would look like. So they've been walking around with this for years. They were attacked. They weren't rescued. It took 17 hours in the Gulf for them to get relief. The United States to send a relief ship to rescue them. Now, I can understand that you really, and no retaliation, Israel didn't receive any type of, they've never received any type of correction for anything they've done, I don't think. I mean, all the settlers are still in land in the West Bank. They say it's illegal, but no one's doing anything about it. Nothing. There's a weird relationship with Israel. I don't know what it is. I wish somebody would tell me, but those are the two. That's another thing that was brought up in Congress, in the Senate, by Thomas Massey. He's on it. We're going to hear more about it. I haven't heard anything else about 224 in Ro Khanna. I know it got out of committee, and it is definitely on this House side. I'm sorry, going to be voted on in the full House. That is treason. And y'all heard about? Did y'all hear about the? There's some kind of war deal. There's a ceasefire agreement supposedly, and so far it looks like we're giving Iran $3 billion. It may be as much as $20 billion. The first installment maybe $3 billion, but we're giving them money. I don't know what's wrong with this president, man. And I don't hear anything. Again, like I said the last time, if I don't hear Israel as part of the ceasefire agreement, there is no ceasefire agreement. They're not gonna go for it. He's doing the same thing. It's Friday, right? He's doing the same thing. He's playing he's manipulating the markets. This always happens. He's manipulating the markets again. Whew, Lord, this is crazy. This is a crazy time that we actually are seeing. We're seeing it. We're seeing the corruption. every day and can't do anything about it. And we're supposed to be what? The strongest nation in the world, the leader of the free world. And we can't free ourselves from a jackbooted dictator who is dumb as a box of rocks. But that's what his saving grace is. He don't care about being dumb as a box of rocks. He has no shame. This is going to be one more video I'm going to play about the... this is a speech. This is a speech made by a young man who's kind of like... Remember I say a lot of times, all this is really related because it all comes out of the Epstein class. The first time we get a billionaire president, and now we have a paper trillionaire. I'm not going to say anything else about it other than it's a weird situation with this IPO all of a sudden. They definitely changed rules to get this on there. But the people who put money behind it, I don't know if they're trying to get him ate up or what's up, because it doesn't make any sense on paper. So this is all an interesting time. There's just crime on crime on crime going on, and no one's watching. The same man who got rid of USAID, who led Doge, who got rid of the program that kept the schoolworms out of this country. The program was under USAID. They were sterilizing the flies, and that kept the screwworms for increasing their population. And they come up here, they canceled that entire program, and now we have screwworms. That same man who hired the crew to go into the Social Security Administration with a server and steal all the data, cut programs because they didn't like it. Said sterilizing flies. That's crazy. Why would we need to do that? Cut the program, and then stole all our data. He's now a trillionaire in this country. Yeah, that happened. That happened. You gotta laugh at it, right? Because that's crazy. So I like the way this young man, he ties it all together. It's a speech that he made, not to Congress. I think it's his state where he was making his speech. It's a very good speech. Everything is tied up together. When you think about law enforcement, you should be thinking about IDF, right? The Israeli Defense Force. You should be thinking about that because a lot of our police forces go over there for training. I remember specifically when the DC police went over there. I forget about the chief. His name was the fat black one, the light skinned one. He went over there for training, and then he came back. Oh, it was great. And that's when, if you know anything about DC, they used to ride around with the lights on. The lights at the top on all the time flashing, because that's what they do in Israel. That's what he brought back from Israel from his trip to be trained with the IDF to, I guess, combat battle zone, because it was a battle zone back then. So yeah, that's where they got that from, riding around with the lights on all the time. I think they stopped it though, but that used to be really crazy though. Not that I was ever in DC doing anything wrong, had to worry about police. All right, let's hear this speech.
American dollars are being used to disappear people. This is not a faraway issue. It is happening here in Cincinnati. Yasser Hich is a 50-year-old Palestinian man, a husband, a father with no criminal record. Originally here on a green card, he was living in Cincinnati when ICE kidnapped him at home in front of his children. They have held him in detention at Butler County for almost a year. At this time, however, his location is unknown, and all attempts by his family and community to locate him are met with silence. Even if he has been deported, there is no indication where he would be sent. Because of the intertwining of Zionism and our government, Palestine isn't even an option. Throughout his detention, his family has waited for a process to take place that will finally allow them to see their husband and father again. But the process they've been waiting on is not one guided by morality or justice. It is fueled by racism and hatred. When it captures someone, they don't care what kind of threat this person presents, they just care what they can get away with. We've seen this already with Laka Cordia, a Palestinian held for more than a year year despite court orders demanding her release. With Mahmoud Khalil, a Palestinian green card holder, taken, held, and transferred without communication to his wife and lawyer. With Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was illegally deported to Sikot, the El Salvadoran mega prison riddled with human rights abuses and our government's refusal to bring him back. The same people watching genocide and apartheid take place in their homeland are under threat of our terrorist forces here, kidnapping them in this home. Everything we've allowed and funded abroad is merely a sign of what is to come for us all. We've watched hate crimes take place and then watched the same happen on this very doorstep. We saw a woman murdered in her car in Minneapolis, and we see a car stopped in the West Bank by the IDF, shooting through the windshield, killing a 7-month-old baby, whose mother is now in critical condition from the same bullet that pierced the hand of her husband and the head of her son. 73% of ICE detainees have no criminal record, but these are people caged up, malnourished, mistreated, and missing. People pulled from their loved ones and then wiped from our databases. We cannot continue fueling the growth of this violence, and we cannot continue staying silent. The next move for all of you should be calling and finding out where Yasser has been taken. Does anybody's office want to talk about this? Find out where this man's taken. Who wants to meet?
So he had a good speech. He drew it all together. So he was basically talking about in Cincinnati, Ohio, a man was taken from a Palestinian, legally documented immigrant, was taken. They don't know where he is. They know he can't go back to Palestine because Israel's not going to take him back to Palestine. So they don't know where he is. He's been gone for a while. And then they talked about the people that it happened here. Like they capture anyone that captured from the Middle East who have a problem going back. They want to send the Iraqis, the Iraqis and the Afghanistan that helped in the wars in those countries. They want to send them back. And they can't go back. They'll be killed by the Taliban, or I'm not sure about Iraq though. Iraq is not a safe place, but I don't know about Iraq, but yeah, that's sending back to Afghan. You know, the Taliban's going to get them. But the fact that they are trying to do that shows the criminality. And he tied it to the IDF. Again, we know that IDF, or you should know that IDF is within ICE. They have pictures of IDF soldiers and their tattoos, and they are in ICE uniforms, faces covered. So the face covering is not just to show who they are, it's also not to show that IDF is working in DHS. And they're using the same tactics that they use over there against the Gazans. That's how this stuff is all tied up, right? It's all related. I don't even know why why did our police decide to go to Israel for training? I don't even know how that happened. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm going to talk about that next time. How that happened and why it's there, because it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, nobody should be training with the IDF. The IDF is the most deadly force ever. And they don't care. They kill children. And why do we send our military or our police force over there to train with them when all they know is kill? That could be part of the problem. It's all tied up. That's gonna be it, I think. Yeah, that's it for Israel and AIPAC. It's the same. I have to. If I try to do an episode without Israel and AIPAC, the whole thing, but I didn't. It's part of the news cycle every time. It's like everything. So much of what we're doing because of now that. Israel has been exposed. Zionism has been exposed. It's everywhere now. Like, you have to really think about how much your politicians, your representatives in Washington, representatives anywhere are being influenced by a country that has genocide on their record on both sides. It's just a weird time, right? The time makes no sense to me when I try to figure out and sit down like, how did this happen? But let's go to the United States. I got one thing I'm going to play here, and that's going to be it. I've been sitting here over an hour. Don't know why. The light's blue. That's why. I can talk a lot. Okay. So here we go. Oh, no, we got data center too. So this happened in America now. We have to watch out. Us as black people, we're under the thumb.
Witnesses say the family was gathered outside for a reunion Sunday night when a car drove by. A white man who witnesses say was Jeffrey Tyler Kinzer was inside the car yelling racial slurs at the group.
And he's talking junk and he started yelling the N-word. He kept going, so we let him go. And we were just discussing what just happened, why he tripping.
But Green says Kinzer came back, this time wearing armor and carrying a rifle.
And then that's when everybody started running. He got a gun. All the kids, they were making sure the kids get in the house. And people started taking positions because they seen he had a gun. And I was in the middle of the street. That's when he raised it and fired. Boom. And I grabbed my gun and started returning fire and moving with him.
Green says he's a Marine veteran. He says he was willing to defend his family, including children and older adults who were present.
It was so hurtful. I cried all night. I'm laying outside on the ground through a shootout under a car with my other auntie, my other sister, who is 77, and I'm 62.
The investigation is ongoing. Officials say more charges are expected to come. This family says they are just grateful to be alive. Reporting in Lee County, Mariah Norman, WALB, your hometown news source.
So that's a weird one, right? Like a dude shot at someone. So a white dude, you saw it. I don't know what happened here or why. I'm going to look for some more information in Georgia or why white dudes are riding around with AR-15s in their car and body armor and was just or randomly started shooting at black people or yelling at people. Lucky that one of their people there was a Marine or ex-Marine. He had his dog tags out, so he was ready. Pulled out his gun and started firing back because it could have been worse if nobody there had a gun, a weapon to use against him. He just, like, you see kids running, screaming, older folks getting on the ground. It was a family gathering. It was a cookout. Something we have all summer long. The Juneteenth is coming up, and then this happened. So it's a weird time, and I talked to someone here, and they hadn't heard about it. So it's not getting national attention for some reason. We know why, but I'm gonna follow up on that one. I want to know exactly what it was because the guy was a regular guy. Wasn't a skinhead. Wasn't a young guy. He's a middle-aged white American rolling around his car on a Saturday afternoon. And it was a couple days ago, so maybe it was Sunday. I don't know. And he just decides to call people niggas out his car, then park his car, put on body armor, and attack the black people for no reason. Or if there's a reason, we don't know yet. So I'm definitely gonna keep tabs on that one and just be careful. I'm always careful when I'm outside. I don't trust nobody. I definitely don't trust white people. Just to let you know. When you see me on the train, I'm counting bodies on the train. If I see a number I don't like, I get up, I go to the next car, right? Because I'm not gonna get caught. I'm not gonna get caught, and I have yet to get caught. Because I will get up and go to the next car. A lot of people would just sit down with a smelly homeless person on their car. I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna pretend this dude don't smell. I'm going to the next car. It's just that easy for me. All right, we're going to keep track of that one. It's not safe here for us right now because of what's coming from the top, what's happening every day with the military, with just like, there's supposed to be DEI, supposed to be merit. Merit don't count no more, apparently, in the military. Now it's about if you're a man or, if you're black or a woman. If you're a black woman, you never getting anything for no reason. They've earned that. It's about merit. You can't. That's another thing. All right, so let's go on to the next one. That's only racism. That's all. I can only do that one tonight. So let's go ahead and talk about data centers, AI. I told you I'm an AI skeptic, and obviously everybody's becoming an AI skeptic. Right when we had an IPO, SpaceX mostly is mostly on paper. Right now, according to the S1, the filing for the IPO, SpaceX is an AI company. That's what they're hoping on. That's what the money was supposed to be raised for. Everybody might have been thinking rockets because they got rockets all over everywhere. No, the most the money they're counting on hitting and propelling, because they're not worth $1 trillion. Well, they hope to get up to, the market cap is $2 trillion or 1.3. I don't know what the market cap it is. But they're hoping to raise the money, but the money is not going to come from rockets. It's not going to come from what is the other thing? Starlink. It's supposed to come from AI, and AI is already in trouble. Just today, the other two companies that plan an IPO this year, OpenAI and Claude, they both they're cutting their prices. Like, they are showing no profit, and many companies are becoming very, very sticker shy because they're seeing the token prices go up because it's been discounted for so long, and now they got to show. They need to show, once they go public, they got to start showing profit. And in order to do cutting the price, not going to do it. They're hoping to get. They're just like drug addicts, right? They'll give you a little bit free, get you hooked, and then they're gonna raise the price. That's the plan. But it's really weird. Like this, if normal investors would see that happen, you're cutting the prices right after the previous week when all the CEOs started talking about this doesn't seem practical. It might be cheaper just to use people. And I think that the problem I have with AI is that, like, we got a lot of AI walking around in bodies that can do the job, but you just don't want to pay them. You want to get the money. You want to eliminate the AI that walks around all day and then you want to have gigantic centers of AI, false AI, that burns the same thing we need. We need water and we need electricity too, but you want to give it to the AI so you don't have to pay, but then you didn't got to pay for it. You paying somebody else for it. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. And it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with this with these other IPOs, because they don't make any sense. They don't make any sense, and they're not talking about the backlash of the data centers enough. People do not want these data centers in their houses, next to their houses, in their neighborhoods, and then the local politicians are just get that money, get that money. So let me play another video on AI. I'm gonna keep playing them until people understand. The only people, I would say the same thing. Only people that are excited about AI are the people trying to sell you AI. They will discount all the problems with it just to say, yes, AI can code. It can, but from what I hear, it's sloppy code. AI cannot do my job. I already know. I watched them try. It failed. They use us to help do some training data, some cleanup for them. Still didn't work. But you're welcome to keep trying. And now I'm seeing other like weird little sites or weird little videos. I don't use AI in my videos. I never will. I use some AI in post-production, but I never use AI to come up with anything I'm saying or fact check. I cut all my AI off. I switched to DuckDuckGo. I don't use Google search anymore because Google is going to all AI, and I don't want to be all AI. So you're not going to force me to do what I want to do when I can just use an alternative, DuckDuckGo. And I like DuckDuckGo because they have a button on the front of it. You press it, it's a flame, and it just burns up the whole session. The history, the cookies is all gone. So can't track you. Hey. That's really good. So you know what? I would have never known that if Google didn't decide to do that. So thank you to show me how to have you not track me. You did that, Google. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna go on, and this is gonna be first video. I'm going to keep playing these overview videos about AI because I don't think people understand it enough. Some people are still discounting it. That it's not a big deal. Go to Ashburn and see how much of a big deal it is. It is a big deal to have a AI data center in your neighborhood, and they aren't playing fair. They are not playing fair.
What if I told you this random construction site could actually sway the midterm elections? It's going to be an AI data center, one of many powering the AI boom across the country. In Michigan alone, There are more than a dozen of them currently planned. These are multi-billion-dollar projects coming to rural towns across the state, but just one of them has started construction.
We're going to go to Saline Township, which is a tiny little community in southeast Michigan with this data center coming in. It's really hard to understand the scale of these data centers until you actually have to drive past it. I mean, it's many, many, many football fields.
This thing is going to totally change the character of the landscape of the township. In terms of size, it's 250 acres, and it's being built for tech giant Oracle. In terms of how much power it needs, it's enough to power 1 million homes. And people here are really upset.
It is
1 million homes.
It's our water. It's our power.
They can't even turn the damn lights off at night. I mean, give me a break.
I don't know why you're not more angry at them. I don't get why your loyalty is to them and not us.
I know that there's some trust that's broken. I think that we could help to rebuild that. We do have your best interest in mind.
That's a lie.
The company's developer says that this is going to be good for the town. It's going to be environmentally friendly, bring jobs, it's going to bring money into the school system. But a lot of the residents don't believe that. And the reason is that the deals around these data centers have been very secretive. The projects themselves don't have names that scream data center. They're named things like Project Cannoli and Project Cherry Blossom. And in Saline Township's case, it was Project Mitten. And contracts related to how the data center is going to get its power have been heavily redacted. Even the signatures are blacked out. Oracle says that they're protecting competitive information and that their developer has met repeatedly with residents.
The residents feel like they're being bulldozed and overrun. I see both sides just not listening to the little people. It just feels like there's really nobody rooting for us.
I'm confused. For this next election cycle, I really don't know where I will put my alliances.
This is a new force in our political landscape, and it's just this live wire that we don't quite know what effect it's going to have. This is something that's happening all over the country, but in Michigan, it's particularly important because in these midterm elections in November, Michigan is a critical battleground state, but the Democratic and Republican parties haven't really caught on yet. It's sort of like the political equivalent of the proverbial $100 bill lying on a sidewalk, and we don't know which party is going to pick it up.
So that's basically just talking about the Michigan, where they're building Larry Ellison, which is Oracle, is building a huge data center. The people, they said 1 million homes, right? 1 million homes. And the guy was like, they never turn the lights off. It's worse that they don't ever turn the lights off. They never turn the machines off. So they're talking about 1 million homes using the power of 1 million homes. That's the power of 1 million homes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's more power than 1 million homes because people turn their lights off. No, these machines draw power from the moment they're powered up to the moment they're powered down. They stay on. The only time they go off is when there's a problem with that cage. When I say cage, because they're in cage, if they're using cage, or with that unit, if they have to replace a GPU in that unit, that's the only time it gets powered down. And chances are, not even then, because they probably are hot swappable, meaning that they don't have to be powered down. I'm thinking about it. They probably are hot swappable. So they never stops draining electricity. That's 1 million homes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they're not paying for... if they need new transmission lines, they don't pay for that, right? You pay for that. It's built in. If they need to, it's built into the most licensing or agreements with the power generator, the companies like Pepco, things like that. That there's a fund that they charge the existing customers if they need to make improvements or add to the network or the grid, that you'll pay for it. So they're getting, even that's getting subsidized. And then the ones that are going with fossil fuels, burning diesel generators or gas turbines, that's all in the air. That's greenhouse gases in the air. And I've already showed a video on the physics of data centers and how the engineering doesn't work out, the numbers don't work out, and it's like dropping 32 atomic bombs on the ground every day because the heat is not used or it doesn't just disappear. Like it goes into the atmosphere, so everything around a data center heats up. These are all proven facts. And the fact is that the elected officials, these local, they always say all politics are local. At this point, they are. And the local politicians seem to be as crooked as the national politicians because they get money. I've seen it. I showed it in a previous video how the way these data centers are laid out, there's land around the data center that they can't use, and they will sell those to the people, or they will make it known that you should buy this little parcel right here, and then we'll buy it back from you. They're getting kickbacks for getting these deals through, and the people don't know. They always say that you knew. We had hearings, but people don't go to hearings. You don't really, and they don't really know that the hearing is. Nobody knew that when the president first got in office and started talking about how data centers, what's the term I want to use? How AI was important, and he didn't want any regulation against it because it's so important to beat China. I believe China's going to beat us, by the way. That we have to beat China, not for the LLMs work, right? But the thing is to do it the most efficient way. And then China is being forced to do it more efficiently because they don't have access. I say this all the time. They don't have access to the same chips that we have in this country. So they have to figure out a way to make their LLMs more efficient because they're running on lesser chips. And it's working. So there's the other danger about this whole AI thing. If a method is invented or an algorithm is invented to use lesser GPUs and use less electricity and less water, what happens to that investment? Because those are still being built, right? I already know that most of them will not ever go into operation. Right, they'll just be stuck. So these people in these states, they have this nice, pristine land, clean land, farmland. You're gonna have to pay to get that back because they're not gonna make them return the land to its previous state. They're just gonna walk away. You can tell by the steel mills that are still around, all the other infrastructure of other businesses that have gone out of other businesses that went out of business. I must be hitting my limit. I am hitting my limit. I see it now. Yeah, they must be. So they don't get rid of that equipment. We have a old garden. It was an old what's a flower? What's the thing? People that do flowers. What do they call them? Florist. An old florist up here on Brinkley Road that was there for years. Had a big greenhouse and everything. They went out of business years ago. That greenhouse still there. It's still there. It's never going anywhere because they ain't got to take it down. The same thing will happen with all these data centers. They're not going to go in production. A lot of them will be started because remember it's a competition, right? It's 3. There's more than 3, but the 3 big ones are the ones that need investment. Are XAI, OpenAI, and Anthropic. Claude. Those are the ones that need to build. But all of them are building, like even Larry Ellison, they're building the back end. But then there's no guarantee that they're going to actually use those places yet because the building is like 5-10 years out, right? So all that money they're putting in now is up for grabs, actually. I think that's it. No. We're not gonna end it right there. Oh yeah, I gotta show one. This is gonna be a callback from the previous show. There was a video I showed last week about Atlanta data centers. How this young lady was talking about a data center that was supposed to be a park, right? The property was donated, like 87 acres was donated to a town to use as a park. And you're going to hear the rest.
A family farm donated 87 acres to their local city to build a park for those kids living in the city. The city turned around, sold that land for $10 million to build a data center. This is real, and it's a story of Taylor, Texas. According to 404 Media, a family living in Taylor donated 87 acres of their land to the city. The purpose was simple: build a public park where everyone, especially the kids in the city, could thrive. What did the city do instead? Years after the donation, the city took those 87 acres of land, sold it off to a data center developer, earned $10 million, pocketed that money, hasn't given that money to the farmer or the family. And now the developer is going to build a massive 135,000 square foot data center in Taylor, Texas, on the land that was donated, not sold, for the purpose of putting a public park in the city. This is 2026. Follow for more.
So yeah, that's Aaron. Follow Aaron. He's doing a great job. But I'm going to tell you this. Remember we used to have the Daisy Dukes. Remember the Dukes of Hazzard and the crooked local government, the sheriff, the boss, all that kind of stuff? That's real. It's amazing how many shows they would show us how crooked they are. Like the Cowboys Indians, right? They were criminals. They were white men were robbing people left and right, and committing genocide against the Indians. That was real. That happened. So local towns, they'll steal your shit. So that's that. We saw last week the tract of land behind this lady's house that was supposed to be a park. Now we hear that they sold the land for $10 million. Didn't split it with the people. Didn't give it to the actual people because the family obviously is still there. They didn't give the land to. They didn't give the money to the people. They just sold them land for a data center, and then kept the money and didn't tell the people until they just all of a sudden, like, wait a minute, what's happening back here? It's a data center. So now they got to deal with a data center right there. And you saw in previous videos, the noise that are generated by data. Now they have to live with that noise. They have to live with the heat and the traffic and the construction for the next, 3 to 5 years. That's your local politicians not looking out for your best efforts. That's what I mean. Like me, all of a sudden finding out about Glen Ivy and being shocked. Like, we don't pay attention. We don't pay attention. And it's like we hear about it like, oh my God, what are they doing? And then it's like it's too late. They've already done it because they don't care. So vote for people that care about you. I want to say my people care, but I don't pay attention to Prince George's County politics because it gets kind of crazy. It doesn't get crazy. There's been some colorful people here. I think it was Curry, like Wayne Curry. Yeah. So one dude got caught taking kickbacks, and the police came to his house. He had cash all around his house, and he was trying to have the cash down his wife's bra in PG County. So it happens everywhere, but you have to pay attention, especially right now, because you don't want to be living next to a data center. I'm going to tell you that right now. You don't want to. Go to Ashburn. If you're in this area, if you want to see some data centers, Virginia, West Virginia, Northern Virginia, have a lot of them. They just all of a sudden showed up. They were showing up back in the day. I was going down there, but now it's different, and they have a lot of them. It's a crazy amount, and they're paying more in electricity. All right, that's it for me tonight. I won't be back until Monday night, right before the midterms on Tuesday, and I hope I don't come back on here Wednesday cussing y'all out. Because I will. Because this is it, man. This is it. This is going to really show us where we're headed to in the next years. Like, you thought the 2020 election was, or the 2024 election wasn't important. 90 million people didn't vote. You could do that again. And you think it's bad now? It is bad and getting worse, and is only going to get worse as time goes on, unless we can make a decision to do better. All right? Now, some hope. A spoken word tonight. So I was looking for some spoken word to play. I kind of think about why I play spoken word, or why I like to show poems, spoken word, and then why they're so emotional, because that's who I am on a regular time. Like, I don't want to be talking about politics. I want to be talking about this poem we're getting ready to listen to, right? So when I listen to it, I get to feel those feelings of angst and love and all that kind of stuff. Because that's what I want to feel. I don't want to be feeling dread and loss of hope and danger and fear all the time. Like when I sit here looking at these videos, so this gives me a little reprieve to get back into my emotions, right? And sometimes my emotions tend to go dark. So here's some spoken word, I think. I think it's here. Yeah.
A response to those who say I write too many love poems. I write love poems instead of suicide notes. I remind myself that I am capable of feeling more than hatred. I don't give death a voice today. I don't give sadness the breath it needs to speak. I write a poem about your eyes so that I won't cry. Sometimes distraction is better than action. I write a love poem instead of a list of things that can kill me. I don't think about the knives or the cars or the water. I don't think about the fucking water. I don't think about becoming a ship lost at sea. I don't think about drowning. I don't think about the taste of the bathwater in my mouth. I don't think about it filling up my lungs and stealing my breath. If anything is going to take my breath away, I want it to be your smile. I don't care how stupid that sounds, because instead of my own obituary, I write about you, or her, or him, and I try to remember what the good feels like. I write poems filled with gooey words, and I let them stick to me. I let all this fluffy illusion keep me warm until I am cold no longer. I write love poems even on the days my grief forms puddles at my feet. Like it's the only thing I can step into, like it is the only thing I can find my reflection in. I even wrote a love poem when you left me, because I will always choose my heart breaking over my heart not beating, over me not existing. I think I would rather feel everything than nothing at all. This is not the easy choice, because on too many days I am simply living despite myself. I never thought it would be this hard to just be alive. So I have to give myself something to live for. Maybe that's cliche, but I think so far it has been working. See, I think most people on this earth deserve a love poem, deserve to be reminded of what the good feels like. I think most people never get their love poems, so I'll write them. Each one is survival.
That was not my normal that was not my normal choice, but that was powerful. That was powerful. She reminded me of Doctor Who. What was Doctor Who? Rose Tyler, who was Bobby somebody, right, from England. That was she reminded me she looked like. But the poem was powerful. And it's melancholy and it's sweet. And yeah, that was cool. That was some hope. All right, y'all, we gotta go. I'm out. I'm gonna play some go-go. What y'all wanna hear? Y'all want some go-go? I'm gonna play that and I'm out. This is gonna be a little junkyard band. So I'm gonna leave it there. Democrats, do your thing, man. Tuesday, I want to vote for, I forgot her name now. I don't want to vote for Lynn Ivey. I want to vote for the other one. Her name is something. I said it like 5 times. I'm going to go look at it again. That's important. One more time. Hold tight. And then we out. I'm going to play some go-go. Y'all want some go-go? All right. So her name is Jakia Johnson. Right there. No money from AIPAC. She had some words to say because Planned Parenthood backed Glenn Ivey, which is weird because everybody knows Glenn Ivey is a AIPAC corporate Democrat. So it's kind of weird. He probably... AIPAC probably gave some money to them. They don't know where it came from, so they going back him. All right. So see y'all on I will see y'all on what day? Monday. Get ready to vote. You vote early. All that good stuff. Seek peace. Pursue it. That's the only thing I got in the Bible for you. I got some other things too, but that's the most important one because that's on you to do something. All right. Peace.